So, what's the deal with self-harm? I want to provide a trigger warning right at the beginning of this episode. We're going to be talking about things that might be triggering to some people. So if self-harm might be triggering for you, go ahead and log off now. You don't have to watch this episode. Hi, I'm your host, I'm Allison, and this is Kate. Kate, would you give us a brief introduction about yourself?
I've been a trauma therapist for almost 20 years. I love what I do, and I'm excited about sharing more healing information for people.
Yeah, thanks so much. Well, we're going to be talking about something that's pretty triggering and a little taboo.
Yes.
Let's talk about self-harm. So what actually is self-harm, and how is it different from a suicide attempt?
Self-harm is very literally hurting yourself, causing yourself pain or injury. A suicide attempt is an attempt to end your life. But self-harm has a whole lot of other elements to it.
Yeah, what role do overwhelming emotions like intense sadness or rage, what role do they have to play in self-harm?
Self-harm is a way of managing very intense emotions.
Yeah.
Not necessarily the healthiest way, but when you don't feel like you have other ways of managing it, self-harm feels useful. It can be a coping mechanism.
Yeah, I've definitely heard this from clients of mine and just people in my life that self-harm is actually a way to feel something. When they feel numb or disconnected, that's why they engage in that behavior. Would you say that's true?
That's one of the reasons. It
Yeah.
can be intense emotions or lack of emotions.
Yeah.
Yes, it can be both. They
Yeah.
want to feel something.
That's interesting. How does this behavior connect to past trauma or a need for control?
Past trauma, it could connect to it because in past trauma they felt alive or they felt numb and they're reenacting it, possibly. But also, the second part of the question,
Or a need for control?
a need for control is you in charge of the pain you're experiencing. You're causing it. It's not somebody outside you.
So let's debunk some myths and break some stigma surrounding self-harm. One of the biggest myths is that it's just for attention. What would you say the reality is around that?
It has very little to do with getting attention.
Yeah.
Most people hide it.
Right. That's what I was thinking too.
It's not. It's rarely about getting attention. It's often people who desperately need attention and they're in pain.
Yeah.
And they want to, they have to get it out somehow. It's not that they're trying to get attention through it.
But you would say it is a cry for help.
It is a cry for help,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah.
Yes.
If a friend or family member tells me they're harming themselves, what is the wrong thing to say in that situation?
To tell them to stop it and to be scared. Like, nah. If you have too dramatic a response, it's going to shut them down more. So it's being curious is important. What are they feeling? What makes them want to do that? When do they want to do it? Getting curious is much more helpful than being dramatic and upset. Giving them space to express themselves.
Yeah.
It's a very strong expression. Cutting. There are all sorts of different cutting, burning, scratching, even digging your fingernails into yourself is a type of self-harm. There are some people that will say that their self-harm, it helps them feel grounded and centered again. And so by being a supportive presence with someone, they don't have words. If they had words, if they had places to talk about it, they wouldn't be self-harming. So if someone you love is doing that, just working to be present to them in silence, not pushing them, not forcing them to do anything. Being curious when they're willing to talk.
Yeah. Yeah. What if someone listening engages in self-harm behavior? Are there any coping skills that you can think of right now for someone that is doing that?
There are lots of coping skills, and most of the people that I see that have done self-harm say they don't work.
Okay. That's interesting. What would you say is like the most common thing that you hear as like a coping skill for self-harm?
Deep breathing.
Just take a deep breath.
Yes. Yeah, right. Like that's going to stop your raging emotions.
Right.
It's so frustrating. Just take a deep, or several deep breaths. Meditate. You can't meditate when you have so much raging through your mind. Often it's teenagers. There's so much going on. And As a therapist, I am never shaming. It's really important not to shame someone. But to begin to stop the behavior it's helpful to sit with the feelings instead of trying to change them. So that would be a very incremental way of starting to change it. I know of one person, an adult, who cut all the time, 5 times a day.
Wow.
She started changing the behavior by only cutting 4 times a day, finding a time where she could sit with the emotion and not cut. And she got to a point where she stopped.
Instead of this like cold turkey, I'm done cutting.
Right.
You're setting yourself up for failure at
Right.
that point.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It's taking small steps. And the sitting with, if you have someone close to you that can sit with you, not trying to fix or change anything.
Yeah.
That will help you learn to sit with your emotions. And one of the things that is a little known fact, that it's about 90 seconds if you let your emotions get really high. And if you sit with it and let them go as high as they need to go, they'll start coming down.
90 seconds is nothing.
Right.
It's nothing.
Yes. But when we fight them, they can last for hours.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
So getting to the root of the behavior instead of really addressing the behavior itself.
Ultimately, yes.
And that's what we would say therapy is.
Right.
So
yes.
go see a therapist.
Yeah. That would be maybe the first step.
Yes. So for someone listening who wants to stop, what is the first smallest step that they can take?
I would say there are several. Reach out for a therapist. Sit with your feeling for 10 seconds more and increase it as you can.
Tell someone. That's what I'm thinking of.
Yes.
Isn't that a first step? Just tell someone.
That can be a first step.
Yeah.
It's fascinating watching people heal from the need to do self-harm, where they get to a place where it's like, oh, I don't even think of that anymore, when that used to be their first thought.
It's possible. It's possible to get to that place.
It is possible to get to that place, yes.
Yeah, you've seen it.
I have seen it.
Yeah.
And it's such a joy
Wow.
to know that you can get to that place. And if right now it is really important that somebody does know so that you don't do greater harm.
Yeah. Would you say that there's a strong connection between self-harm and suicide or suicidal ideation? Or would you kind of separate those two things?
It depends. Most of the time I'd separate it, but everyone's unique and special and important. Most of the time I think it's separate.
I think that's important for people that know someone who's engaging in the behavior to be able to separate those two things.
Yes.
To focus on what's actually happening, not panic.
Not panic.
And go
right.
to this extreme, but to be present.
Yes,
Yeah.
to be present. Yeah. Yeah, presence is something we don't do a lot in our culture. And it's such a gift to give to other people, to each other.
Absolutely. Well, thanks so much for talking about something that most people don't want to talk about.
I love talking about it.
It's a weird thing to say.
It's a weird thing to say. But it's like, it needs to be talked about and it needs to be taken out of the shame category.
Absolutely. Yeah, if we can release shame from people's lives. Yeah, for sure. Well, thanks so much. Thank you so much for listening. We hope to see you next time.